It's another edition of Time About the Movies, and today we're taking a look at the movies of September 23rd, 1994. We got 4 movies to look at today, so let's get right to it. And we'll start off with the biggest new release of the weekend, and I say biggest in quotation marks because it was not a very good weekend if the biggest new release is Charlie Sheen in the skydiving adventure film Terminal Velocity. How is it that whenever Charlie Sheen does an action movie, it feels more like a parody than the actual parodies that he's been in? I mean, man, this movie was terrible. I mean, I don't know if it was meant to. This was meant to be a comedy. I don't know if this was meant to be taken seriously, but man, this movie is bad. This is a really bad movie. I mean, for God's sakes, Charlie Sheen plays a guy named Ditch Brody. I mean, who names their kid Ditch? Okay, technically Ditch is kind of a nickname that he's been given, but his actual name is Richard Brody. But still, Dick Brody. Like, come on, man. It's just like, I mean, like we looked at a so bad it's good movie last week on last week's episode, Time Cop. Let me rephrase that again. We looked at a movie that's so bad it's good on the previous episode that was last week, Time Cop, and this is just a movie that's so bad it's just so bad. And written by David Twohy, and if you don't know that name, you know the work that he's been involved in. He wrote Pitch Black. He wrote The Chronicles of Riddick. Basically all the Riddick movies, and most of those movies are not very good. I mean, Pitch Black was alright, and I guess Riddick was passable, but yeah, this was not a very good movie. The story doesn't make a whole lot of sense. It doesn't really know what kind of a tone it wants to be like, and it was one of two skydiving themed action movies that came out in '94, with the other one being Drop Zone, which was slightly better, but not by that much. Yeah, I got nothing else for you. Terminal Velocity is just a really, really bad movie. So let's go away from that movie and talk about a good movie. And I say not even a good movie, a great movie. And that's our next film. And that is, of course, Tim Robbins and Morgan Freeman in The Shawshank Redemption. I mean, honestly, I really don't need to say too much more about this particular movie. I mean, everybody has seen it. Everybody loves it. Maybe one of the more interesting things about it is how it got its legacy, because, yeah, this was a highly acclaimed movie when it came out, but it did not do well at the box office. It was a film that kind of went under the radar. It was seen as mostly a failure because competition from stuff like Forrest Gump and Pulp Fiction, the unpopularity of prison movies, not a whole lot of female characters in here. The title was seen as a little bit confusing, but everybody loved the movie. It was a highly praised film. It went on to receive several Academy Award nominations, including Best Picture. And thanks to Ted Turner and TBS and TNT, they aired this movie so many times starting in 1997 that it did grow to have this huge following over the years. Largely thanks to video sales, DVD sales, TV network appearances. I mean, a couple years ago, it was just on FX for the Oscars, but was it last year or the year before? I think it was the year before. But, I mean, like I said, there's really not more I can add to this movie that hasn't already been said. It's just such an amazing, amazing movie, based off of a story by Stephen King. Great performances all around, with Tim Robbins and Morgan Freeman leading the charge. You also have William Sadler in here, Clancy Brown, Gil Bellows. Just so many great moments in here. The score by Thomas Newman is astonishing. The cinematography by Roger Deakins is just so good. It melts together into some of the most memorable scenes in movie history. I mean, the scene where they show the hole that Andy Dufresne dug to get out, and and everybody's just looking through the hole, and you hear that music go. That gives me chills every time I watch it, man. It's one of those great moments I can watch all the time. It's just such an amazing, amazing scene, and it's one of the things that's just made this movie last. It's just one of the many things that has made this movie last as long as it has. It's just such an amazing movie. I can't really say more about it that hasn't already been said already. It's a fantastic film. I love it. If you haven't seen Shawshank Redemption, do go and see it. You're doing yourself a huge disservice by not seeing this film. And really, that's about as much as I can bring to it that hasn't already been said already. So that's the Shawshank Redemption. Let's move on to the next movie, and that is Sleep With Me. You know, there was a movie similar to this that we've already talked about before. It was threesome, and it feels like this movie is trying to be just like that, except it's kind of like a mix of that and the other movie we looked at a couple weeks ago, The New Age, which it's trying to be like a yuppie movie for the Gen X for the Gen X audience, and this movie really does not look that good, despite the fact that it has a decent cast to it. I mean, Meg Tilly, Eric Stoltz, Craig Schieffer. You see Quentin Tarantino in there. Thomas Gibson from Dharma and Greg's also in here. Parker Posey, Joey Lauren Adams, Vanessa Angel, June Lockhart. Just a really good cast in here, but nothing about this looked pretty funny at all. It looked like a movie that was trying to be a wannabe version of Reality Bites, and it just didn't have enough material to work with. I mean, if one of your main plot points is having Quentin Tarantino go on about the homoerotic subtext of Top Gun, I mean, there's really not that much there, honestly. It's a film that just feels like, hey, let's get all these people together and we'll just see if it works. Let's just throw stuff at the wall, see if it works. And needless to say, it doesn't work. It's a film that just doesn't really feel like it has enough there to really warrant its existence. I mean, it doesn't look like it got a lot of good reviews. It doesn't look like it had a lasting legacy to it, and I have not heard anybody really say anything about it, so there you go. That's pretty much all I can add to this conversation. This movie does not look that good, so yeah, that's Sleep With Me. So let's move on to the last movie, which is I don't know if this is just a mockumentary or just a documentary to the mockumentary, but The Making of And God Spoke. Okay, so it is called The Making of And God Spoke. Here's what confused me. On Box Office Mojo, that's what the movie is called, but if I go onto YouTube and try to type in clips for this movie, The Making of And God Spoke, I get things that say, And God Spoke, so, like, they actually show, like, I don't know if this, I didn't think this was an actual movie, or just part of the thing, but this is actually a mockumentary about the production of a film based on the Bible, and follows the producer and director through the various stages of making this movie. And it's basically the making of a $15 million Hollywood film, following the pre-production to its release. The cast and crew have to deal with a variety of problems, including a Noah's Ark that's too big, an Eve with a tattoo, a Moses who promotes Coca-Cola along with the Ten Commandments, stuff like that. And some of that could be pretty funny. I mean, some of that could actually be really funny. And the little bit I saw there in that clip there, it does show some promise to it, but I can't really go into too much of it because I haven't seen the movie. I can't really say too much about it, but I mean, the clips I saw look pretty promising, so maybe one day I might check it out, but it's not something I'm going to rush out to see. So that's pretty much all I got to say about this one, The Making of And God Spoke. And so on that note, we wrap up another edition of Time About the Movies. Next time we meet, we'll take a look at the last films of September 1994. We got 5 movies here, including The River Wild. We also have Jason's Lyric, Brendan Fraser in The Scout, Ed Wood from Tim Burton and starring Johnny Depp, and also William Hurt in Second Best. So 5 movies to look at next time around. We'll delve into those on the next episode. But until then, thank you very much for watching, and if you want to see more videos like this, please hit the playlist on the next page, check out the previous episode, and I will see you guys tomorrow for another episode. So thank you for watching. I'll see you next time, and until then, as always, take care.